Hey, I'm here with a longtime friend of mine, Marc Lobliner.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Chilling, man. Just eating burgers, having fun.
But I have a thing on my YouTube. It's people you need to know, and Marc is one of those people you need to know. I mean, I've known him for years. We worked together way back when, and he's always had this insane work ethic. And I mean, he would crush his goals. Like, he was very determined. And then he left AMI, or it was Weeder at that time.
It was AMI.
Was it AMI?
Yeah.
Was it AMI?
I was officially selling tabloids at the time.
So
you can sell tabloids, bro. You can do something, man. That's when you know you can sell.
Yes, you're right,
You can
man.
move inquirer spots, man. You're like, trust me, it's credible. This is all real.
I lost touch with Marc for a few years, but I would ask if I ran into someone that knew him, and everybody that I said would say the same thing. He's working his ass off. That is one of the hardest working dudes I've ever seen. And he built the brand. It wasn't in my territory, so I didn't really follow the brand. And then we've just kind of reconnected. And I wanted Marc to share because he's a CEO and co-owner of over 10 companies. So I mean, he's even busier than before for 5 years ago. But I wanted him to please share some secrets to your success. So anybody, that's starting something in another industry, or they want to get into our industry, what are some of your secrets?
Well, it really isn't secrets. I mean, you could read this from any self-help book, and anybody who has that mantra of work and take what's yours because no one's going to give it to you. And I think that's the problem, is a lot of people think that success is inherent. I've seen a lot of people who have that silver spoon, who have the inheritance, the trust fund.
I've seen a few of those myself.
And they lose it all.
Yes.
Or they make no money beyond what they were given. They don't take that nest egg and turn it into something great. They don't turn that nest egg into a castle. They pretty much just have it. And they live by it, and they make them lazy and complacent. And they don't have that work ethic built in. So the number one thing is work, and knowing that 94% of businesses fail. 94%.
That's a high percentage. Right?
So we'll get this all the time. We do Instagram lives and YouTube lives, and the questions are like, what's your top tip for an entrepreneur? I'm like, and my tip is usually don't. Would you use a form of birth control that had a 94% defection rate, 94% failure rate?
I wouldn't even, I would love to see the packaging on that birth control.
I'm joking. Darren doesn't use birth control. He's just not a big fan. No, but I mean, here's the thing, is that people expect, I start a business, I get paid. They don't realize that you can barely cover your expenses, let alone take home 100 G's and drive a Lambo. Everybody wants a car, everybody wants a paycheck, and that's why most companies fail, I think. A lot of them don't realize what it takes and the sacrifice it takes to make it work.
That is true. That is a big one.
Work. Just be willing to work and go above and beyond, and to think that you're going to be working a 9 to 5 in any area, even if you work for someone else, it's not going to happen. Like when I was at Weeder, I'd pull insane hours. So even when I worked for someone else, I knew that to move ahead in the corporation, to move ahead in that rat race, to move ahead, with your golden handcuffs, so to speak, that you had to outwork. You had to outperform. And let's be real, sales is a numbers game. Yes. There's always going to be a percentage close. So the more calls you make, the more deals you offer, the more likeliness you have. You obviously can't just offer crap. You can't just shoot out a mass email with no sales pitch, right? But you send out enough feelers, you're going to work. So I knew that hours worked, calls made equals numbers. Yeah. And that's what I worked for. And I really loved what I did. I miss corporate America. I know you've been in it for a lot longer than I stayed in it, but I miss it. I miss the politics. I miss
the drama.
Honestly, it wasn't drama. I really missed, honestly, what was the fun part for me was the fact that our bosses were so stupid, and it was so easy to manipulate them, because they got moved up basically by process of attrition. Yeah. And none of them belonged in those positions. Now you look at a Jack Welch or a really good CEO, he would have seen right through my BS right away, right? But David Pecker was interesting. I'm surprised he didn't get sued the way he addressed people, but he was a guy who would see through my BS. That's why I stayed away from him. Because he's a smart dude. He's a good CEO.
Yes.
He is. I mean, people don't like him because he is what he is. But he would see right through me. Right through me. Yeah. He'd be like, bro, I know what you're doing here. Yeah, but another thing I think that is to adapt. When I started my first business, we didn't have social media.
Oh man.
And that's where I think the magazines have failed, and the ones who have succeeded. Like, look at TV, look at ESPN's numbers this year. There's a lot of compounding factors. Point to the protests, this and that. A lot of it is, well, a lot of people just aren't watching. They're streaming, they're doing something different where it's hurting their ratings.
Oh yeah.
And it's not all the protests. I don't care what Trump says. That has something to do with it, absolutely.
Yeah.
But dude, if I'm not gonna pay, I don't care about somebody kneeling if I really like the Steelers. That's how I look at it. If I really want to see Roethlisberger play, I don't care if he's in the tunnel. I don't care if he's kneeling. I want to see a football game. I'd get past it. I just think people are kind of over it. And I think that the internet has changed everything. Internet, like that old adage, video killed the radio store, right?
Yeah.
We still have radios. The radio has just adapted. Now there's XM, and it's competing with radio.
Yeah.
It's competing traditional ads, and they have websites. And hey, every time I listen to the radio, I say, hey, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. You got to be willing to take what I think a lot of us forget in marketing. First thing you learn, marketing 101 in college, the marketing mix. It's the sum or the total of all of your marketing, social media, print, radio, newspaper, whatever, okay? And a lot of people forget that just because there's a new player in the marketing mix, it doesn't totally get rid of those. It just forces them to adapt to a changing technological space.
And the people that don't, companies, people, individuals that don't continually adapt, what happens to those people?
Well, you adapt or you fail. And you're looking at it on a daily basis with different companies that are going bankrupt, that are going under. For example, in our competitive space, our former, we're going to pass them soon, but their problem is they haven't adapted to Amazon. We had to adapt to the single biggest disruptor in American technology history, Amazon. Yeah. Amazon and the internet, and I think the internet in general, but generally Amazon. I don't know that, the data hasn't come out this year, but last year, and this year's been a huge leap for Amazon based on their stock price, they were 38% of all Black Friday sales. 38% for one company.
That's insane.
So you have to adapt. So our competitor was like, hey, we're going to go head-to-head with Amazon. Nah, you're not going head-to-head with Amazon, because Amazon will just price you out of the market and then raise their prices when you go out of business.
But don't some people have that mentality where they think they're going to do what you just told them not to do?
That's why I have 3 kids.
I'm going to do it.
A lot of people, here's the problem. Ego. Ego's a great thing. I have an ego. You have to have an ego. If you're going to do anything successful, you need an ego. Mm-hmm. To start a business when you know that 94% fail, you need an ego, right? Yeah. However, ego can also kill you. If you don't know how to check your ego and also have some humility and humble yourself, you're not going to have a chance to notice when, okay, head-to-head, I'm going to lose. You know, like David v. Goliath, Bible story, right? Could David have gone up to Goliath and fought him with a fist? No. Dude went and got a slingshot, pow, right between the eyes. Okay, so David essentially did to Goliath what we did to our competitor. Instead of going and fighting with Amazon, we're using a workaround and we're beating them. We're not going to beat Amazon. I'm not an $8 billion, trillion, quadrillion dollar company, but we're going to have our niche and we're going to keep growing. Whereas our competitor who went head on, dude, David just got his ass whooped by Goliath. I'm going to find a slingshot.
I like that.
So that's where you have to know. Yes. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Good old Kenny Rogers shit right there. And a lot of these companies, their egos are so big, and they call in these. Our industry's niche. Okay, this table is the industry. Here's our industry. It's a fucking fidget spinner. It's got bottle openers and it's a biker dude, but it's small. It's tiny. It's a micro penis. So our industry is small. So to think that you're a niche player and you're going to play their game, you know, like McGregor went in and fought Mayweather, put up a good fight.
He did.
Because he played his fight. McGregor fought unorthodox as hell, put up a good fight for 8 rounds. He still got knocked out, but he put up a fight because he didn't try and fight like Mayweather. He was awkward and lefty and just did all this crazy stuff. But hey, he stayed in longer than I thought he would.
Me too.
So here's the deal. Don't go into a boxing match and play their game. Don't try and outpunch Mike Tyson in his heyday. Find a way to maybe wear him out. Rocky versus Ivan Drago. Come on, bring it. He gasses out. Rocky goes for the kill.
Yeah.
That's the second point is adaptation. And number 3 is just I think being able to move on from failures and identify where something didn't work and try it again, and be willing to mop up the floor and say, all right, I'm gonna put some new carpeting in here. And I think that is what a lot of people are not willing to do, is that they get so caught up and married to a project, to an idea, that they're like, this is gonna work, this is gonna work, this is gonna work. And there's a lot of stories. For example, my first company, when it literally created the category of intra-workout branched chain amino acids. For 3 years, we were trying to sell them for $5 for 30 servings at the Arnold, and people were still negotiating down.
Wow, no way.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
It ended up being $100+ million category because I refused, because
I like that number.
I had that ego, right? I had that ego, but I also, all signs pointed to it was a viable category. I had no market data because it didn't exist, but I knew there was pre-workout, post-workout, protein, and fat burners. Nobody was taking anything intra, and there's some good data on this, and we made it taste good. So all the things where my favor, sales weren't, because you were literally educating people on a whole new mindset.
Yeah.
They weren't low-hanging fruits. We had to educate and then sell.
That's where you went out, just like all to specialty, all those places.
300 days
That's
a
what I
year.
heard about you, just busting your ass.
Toyota Corolla filled with boxes of product, going store to store, and anybody who would listen to me, I went to people's houses. I'm dead serious. I went and visited customers. Like, I did whatever it took to make it work. However, that could have gone really ugly. But I also knew, here's the key. We just had this question on Instagram Live this week. Is, you do not start your career starting a business unless you're special. Some people have that it factor. I didn't. You work for someone else. Remember I said earlier when we were talking, or when I was rambling?
But see, I think of you, not to interrupt, but
please.
you do have that factor. You know, like he does have that factor, because I think you always did. You've grown it, but you always had that kind of gleam in your eye, and people dug you and wanted to hear what you had to say. And
I say it
you're Patty, but you stayed true to who you are. But I mean, I know you from then, and I see you now. I mean, the charisma's only gotten bigger. The things that you know is only bigger, but you put that effort into that. So, but you do have that factor. There's no question.
You keep educating, you keep expanding your knowledge base, and I read every day. I listen to audiobooks instead of the radio.
See, those are good. Those are what people, they don't do, those two things.
I'm
right
not
there.
talking about romance novels. I'm talking about something that helps you in life, like a business book, a management book.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to get back to. This is the final thing, is by learning from other people's mistakes. And at Weeder, we had the privilege of being able to see other nutrition companies and what they did right and what they did wrong. So I was learning every step of that way. And also we got to see internally from a management standpoint what not to do in a company. When AMI came aboard, they fired immediately 80% of their staff.
That's right.
And guess what? That next month the magazine still came out. What were those people doing? I remember they came up to me when it was all going down the day before, and they said, "You're safe." And I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Because you earn money." So if you're not returning an investment, always ask yourself, if you have a job and you say, I have nothing going on, I can take a day off, that's a problem. That means they can fire you and not care. Make yourself indispensable to whatever you're doing. I made sure at Weeder, when I left, they replaced me with 4 people, dude. They brought on 4 people to replace me at Weeder.
That's a good
when I sold Cybation, they brought on 5 sales reps to help. So if you cannot say that it would take 5 people to replace me, I think 4 at Weeder, I totally underperformed. They brought on Macklin, they brought on Graves, they brought on a few people, they brought on another assistant. Look, here's the deal. I'm not saying that was all because of me. Maybe they were just growing, but it was coincidental. Same with and those guys were those guys have amassed great success.
But that's a great point, though, that you said that for someone, how to really look hard at yourself, and are you doing that? Are you someone that they would need to replace yourself with 4 people? That's a great principle.
You want to,
because most people, none of us want to think bad about ourselves, but you have to have that mentality where you need to be critical. Am I doing the right thing? Am I working as hard as I can? Am I doing that where I'm not replaceable? You want to have that mentality, right?
Exactly. So you need to make yourself indispensable. And those are the top 3, I'd say. And just keep everything in perspective and another thing, just for people with families or who want to have families, if you start a business or anything in life where you want to be something, you're going to suffer in your personal life, and it's going to suck. And hopefully you can figure out how to balance it later on, but there's no perfect balance. You try to attain it, you try your best to have that equilibrium, but it's almost impossible to attain because the hours required.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing this stuff. I mean, a lot of us don't get access to CEOs and owners of businesses like you. So thank you for sharing that. And then what's next?
What's next is we're just going to continue to grow Tiger Fitness, MTS Nutrition, 116 on the Inc. 500. I'm not going to be satisfied until we are the largest, and it's within reach. We're the largest supplement retailer in the U.S.
Yeah, man, I love it, dude.
And
I love we're not going to stop. That's that's the...
What would you do?
That means he wakes up every day. We're not going to stop. He's up at 3 a.m. if he wakes up. We're not going to stop.
I'll tell you this.
That's the mentality.
They always tell you not to live life with vengeance or to focus on your competition. But when there's a number one, you change your mindset. When you're number one, which we were in the intra-workout category, my old company, it was easy to wake up every morning and just think about you and how you're going to focus on yourself and how you're going to grow. Right now, I wake up every morning and I'm going to name names because I have no other way of putting this. And my initial thought is, what can I do today to put bodybuilding.com out of business and steal all of their market share? How can I outservice them? How can I outperform them? And how can I just outwork them? And that's what I wake up every day and I live my life. It's like, for me, it's like a military mission. I'm in to do one thing. I'm there to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. That was Roddy Piper. They Live. You remember that movie?
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me, man.